Hello, my name is Elena Davitti, and this background paper presents the starting point and rationale for SMART, a research project on the emerging practice of interlingual respeaking. Today, we will situate this practice within the broader landscape of real time interlingual speech to text transfer, and we will attempt to characterize it more fully by exploring its different dimensions and variations. As we do this, we will highlight some research questions that remain unanswered and explain how SMART aims to contribute to the current body of knowledge in this field. So SMART stands for Shaping Multilingual Access Through Respeaking Technology. It is a project recently funded by the Economic and Social Research Council UK, and it relies on a large consortium of academic and industry stakeholders. Its focus is interlingual respeaking as a rapidly evolving practice of real-time interlingual speech-to-text transfer via speech recognition, as well as a complex form of human-machine interaction, where human respeakers listen to live input and simultaneously render it with added oral punctuation and any additional content labels in a target language to speech recognition software that turns it into written text displayed on screen with the shortest possible delay. So in its process, it is a form of simultaneous interpreting, while in its product, it's text displayed on screen that requires the human to control prosody and articulation, to minimize speech recognition errors, monitor the software output, and when necessary, edit it for comprehensibility and readability. As a hybrid modality of translation at the crossroads of interpreting audiovisual translation and media accessibility, interlingual respeaking is currently attracting increasing interest from the industry for its potential to meet the growing demand for live content to be made accessible across sensory and linguistic barriers for a wider audience, from settings that we might consider traditional within media access, such as television and conferences, to dialogic interaction in work, school, or medical settings. Both practice and research are in their early stages, and there are still open questions around the extent to which interlingual speaking is feasible, what contexts are best suited for this practice, the quality of the output, the competencies required to support best performance, and so on and so forth. So there is a need for more empirical evidence-based research to address these outstanding questions and many more. SMART aims to collect the first extensive base of empirical data to explore how language professionals from different backgrounds perform interlingual speaking after receiving specialized training in this technique. To this end, the project will adopt a mixed method approach to collect and correlate different human variables, such as cognitive and interpersonal measures and information about previous experience and existing skills that are thought to be critical to the interlingual speaking process. The final goal is to gain insights into how these different factors moderate skills acquisition and performance. So before exploring SMART's objectives in more detail, we want to situate interlingual respeaking within the broader landscape of what we call real-time interlingual speech-to-text transfer, which is the umbrella term that we use to encompass a variety of technology-enabled hybrid methods and workflows that provide what is ultimately the same service. That is to say, a real-time written output of a live interaction in another language. There is an ever-growing global demand for this service and an increasing attempt to meet it via different practices that are often implemented as local and ad hoc solutions. This is also a field in a constant state of flux, and such variation is not only demand-driven, it also stems from factors such as the availability and capability of technologies in different languages, the availability of skilled professionals, and the required quality of the output. While we believe that there is no one-size-fits-all solution, more research is needed to compare the fitness for purpose of different methods in different contexts and for different end users. A common denominator across these practices is a varying degree of human-machine interaction. They can be systematized along a continuum, from more human centric to more automated ones, depending on the degree of human lead in this process. So, the human centric end of the continuum includes workflows based on a single method interlingual techniques, for instance, respeaking, velotyping, or stenotyping. Mixed methods techniques are also possible. Simultaneous interpreting provides translational transfer and can be then combined with intralingual respeaking, velotyping, or stenotyping. In these variations, the balance of the human machine interaction is shifted towards the human, whose input drives the translational and diamesic shift and determines how the speech recognition software or keyboard is used to achieve the desired output. This requires knowledge of the affordances and constraints of the technology being used and how to work around them through preparatory work, ongoing editing, and monitoring as the transfer takes place. As we move towards the center of the continuum, we find semi automated workflows which contain elements that are human centric and elements which are fully machine determined. Each of the intralingual methods seen before might be combined with machine translation, and this raises the question of how human input can be shaped to support more machine readable texts and in what context this is suitable. Simultaneous interpreting can be combined with automatic speech recognition. This would require additional human post-editing input, as no speaker-independent ASR system can ensure fully accurate recognition, segmentation, and punctuation of natural speech under any circumstances. Complex multilingual scenarios also exist, where pivot languages may be necessary. Simultaneous interpreting and intralingual respeaking may be used to create an interlingual text, which is then machine translated into a third or multiple languages. Here, the person may either adapt their input further to suit the machine or potentially post-edit the machine output. And this represents a shift in the role of the human and the expertise that they require. At the other end of the scale are fully automated methods, combining speaker-independent ASR and machine translation with potentially very little or no human involvement. The process is machine-driven, with human input being used to post-edit different stages of machine output. While a completely machine-driven scenario is currently unrealistic, this raises timely questions about the role of human input in increasingly technologized workflows and how to optimize the role of human factors in system design. So against this background, SMART focuses on interlingual respeaking as one of the most human-centric methods for this service. The rationale is that at the time of digital transformation of our society and increasing trends towards automation, there is an even stronger need for more empirical insights into the human factor, not only to deepen our knowledge of interlingual respeaking per se, but to inform the debate on the responsible automation of hybrid speech-to-text practices in a way that is not only technology driven, but accounts for the place of humans in the process. To this end, we are developing an online course on interlingual respeaking. Our participants will be language professionals, including spoken and sign language interpreters, translators, and live and non-live subtitlers, as they learn how to respeak interlingually. We will gather data that helps understand how they can capitalize on existing skills and acquire new ones to add interlingual respeaking to their profile. In our methodology and testing, we draw heavily on cognitive psychology to explore the inner processes at work during interlingual respeaking. We believe that this is vital to understand the different challenges that arise as the task proceeds and how respeakers can learn to meet them. However, we're also aware that many external factors affect the respeaking task and cognition itself. Interlingual respeaking is not a uniform entity, but a practice that in itself conceals many variations, as we will see in a moment. All of these factors place different demands on the respeaker. For this reason, we have adopted an embodied and distributed cognition framework which extends the reach of what is considered cognitive beyond the individual to encompass interaction between people, resources, and materials in the environment. As we explore these variations in respeaking, we always come back to what this means for the person. So, in our attempt to systematize the practice, it is worth spelling out some key dimensions that can have an impact on how and how well respeaking is performed, but which to date have not been fully explored. Starting from the communicative dimension, interlingual respeaking, as we know, may cover a range of settings, events, event types, formats, language pairs, and from bilingual to multilingual events, for instance, and from monologic to dialogic and multi-party interaction. Other variables are related to the specific features of the source spoken input, such as speaker's accent, speed, topic, degree of planning, and presence of visual aids such as slides and graphs, as well as requirements in relation to the target written output in terms of format, mode, channel, and latency. Some insights have been gained on the feasibility of interlingual respeaking in relation to some source speech variables and formats. But questions still arise around the extent to which humans can cope with this task and under what circumstances, and what quality looks like in different scenarios. The spatial dimension refers to the number and location of primary participants, including respeakers, and to their relative distribution. SMART focuses on the mono model, where a single person performs all tasks involved in this practice. But the respeaking team may include two or more respeakers sharing tasks, with implication for task coordination, text synchronization, latency, which remain to be explored. Participants' relative distribution can also vary widely. And differently from other practices such as interpreting, a remote dimension has characterized respeaking since its early days, when it was mostly provided for television and broadcast settings. For instance, with respeakers working from a hub, be it an office or TV studio, or from home, addressing a distributed audience that may watch the respoken content from virtually anywhere and across a range of devices. As interlingual respeaking becomes more and more common in live events, alongside working in pairs, the question of a respeaker's presence is one which is worthy of further exploration. Research on different modalities of interpreting can provide a broad framework to classify different configurations of interlingual respeaking. These may range from prototypical ones with one or more respeakers on site sharing the same physical space as the speakers and audience, or working from its vicinity, for instance, a separate room within the conference venue. And this is what we can call proximal interlingual respeaking. Or working entirely remotely, either from a hub or from home alone, together, or separately but connected to each other. In such cases, the speakers and audience may be co-located or entirely distributed, for instance, in a multi-point virtual meetings. So there may be hybrid scenarios with one or more remote speakers or remote audience. And if two speakers share the event, hybrid scenarios could arise, including semi-presence configurations where one respeaker is on site and one is working remotely. So all this is to say that the variety of working setups and participants distribution opens up the possibility of further spatial configurations which may have an impact on all dimensions of performance and deserve further exploration. The spatial dimension is closely linked to the technological dimension, which includes aspects related to the technical infrastructure adopted across different setups. And with many more events currently being held with remote audiences and speakers, online platforms, for instance, originally developed for distance communication, can be adjusted to provide interlingual respeaking. This opens up a range of interesting research questions about their operability, functionality, but also in relation to aspects of human-machine interaction, such as ease of use, impact of audio and video quality on performance, interface user-friendliness, and so on and so forth. These are in turn closely related to a range of socioeconomic, cognitive, and ergonomic factors, which also deserve further exploration. For instance, the short and long-term effects of fatigue and stress on well-being, adaptation and familiarization, professional recognition, and remuneration. So, to conclude, gaining a better understanding of these and other dimensions of interlingual respeaking, in our view, mean that we are better equipped to comment on how best to support respeakers as they work under different conditions and to understand the scenarios where different modalities of speech to text transfer may be advantageous. In this presentation, we hope that we have provided you with an overview of the interlingual speaking field, of the questions that remain unanswered, and where our own research focus lies in SMART. This is a new and exciting area of research, in particular, as this technique has not yet been fully adopted by the industry, very often due to the lack of experienced professionals across a range of languages to meet demand. So we hope that we will have much to contribute. We would also like to take this opportunity to invite you to get involved in SMART. We will be running our online upskilling course for language professionals in 2021, and registration will open soon. We are looking for language professionals who work with English and either French, Italian, or Spanish. We believe this is a unique opportunity to actively shape this practice and co-create knowledge with industry stakeholders and academia. Please do get in touch if you're interested, and we can send you more information about the course content and timing in due course. For now, thank you very much for your attention.